Barack Obama is widely known as the 44th President of the United States and the first African American to hold the office. He was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, on August 4, 1961. His mother, Ann Dunham, was a white American from Kansas, and his father, Barack Obama Sr., was a black Kenyan studying in the United States. Obama attended Occidental College in Los Angeles for 2 years before transferring to Columbia University in New York City, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in political science. After working for a few years in the private sector, Obama moved to Chicago to become a community organizer. In 1991, Obama entered Harvard Law School, where he became the first black president of the prestigious Harvard Law Review. After graduating with a law degree in 1991, Obama returned to Chicago and began working as a civil rights attorney. In 1996, Obama was elected to the Illinois State Senate, where he served for 8 years. In 2004, he was elected to the United States Senate, becoming only the 5th African American to serve in the Senate. In 2007, Obama announced his candidacy for president, running on a platform of hope and change. He defeated Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primary and went on to defeat Republican nominee John McCain in the general election. Obama's victory was historic, as he became the first African American to be elected President of the United States. During his presidency, Obama implemented several significant policies, including the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare, which aimed to provide health insurance to millions of Americans who were previously uninsured. He also implemented the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, which aimed to regulate the financial industry and prevent another financial crisis like the one that occurred in 2008. Obama also oversaw the end of the Iraq War and the killing of Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda. In addition, he worked to address climate change and signed the Paris Agreement, which committed the United States to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions. After serving 2 terms as president, Obama left office in January 2017. Since then, he has continued to be an influential figure in American politics, advocating for issues such as gun control, immigration reform, and civil rights. He has also been involved in international diplomacy and has written several books, including his memoirs, Dreams from My Father, and The Audacity of Hope. In addition to his policy accomplishments, Obama's presidency was notable for his leadership style and his impact on American culture. He was known for his eloquent speeches, his calm demeanor, and his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. He also used social media and other digital platforms to engage with the American public, particularly younger voters. During his presidency, Obama also became a symbol of progress and hope for many Americans, particularly African Americans. His election was seen as a significant milestone in the struggle for racial equality, and his presidency inspired a new generation of young people to get involved in politics and public service. However, Obama's presidency was also marked by significant challenges and controversies. He faced opposition from Republicans in Congress, particularly in his efforts to pass legislation on issues such as healthcare and immigration reform. His foreign policy decisions, particularly his use of drone strikes and his handling of the Syrian civil war, were also criticized by some. Despite these challenges, Obama remains a highly respected and influential figure in American politics and culture. His legacy continues to shape American society and politics, particularly in the areas of healthcare, climate change, and civil rights. Since leaving office, Obama has remained an influential figure in American politics and has continued to be a vocal advocate for progressive causes. He has used his platform to speak out on issues such as gun control, climate change, and income inequality, and has worked to support candidates who share his vision for the country. In addition to his political activism, Obama has also become a successful author and public speaker. He has written several books, including his memoirs, Dreams from My Father, and The Audacity of Hope, as well as a children's book, Of Thee I Sing, A Letter to My Daughters. He has also given numerous speeches and public appearances, both in the United States and abroad. In recent years, Obama has also become increasingly involved in the world of media and entertainment. He and his wife, Michelle Obama, signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to produce films, documentaries, and other content. Obama has also appeared as a guest on several popular podcasts and has been interviewed by prominent media personalities, including Oprah Winfrey and David Letterman. Despite the challenges and controversies of his presidency, Obama's legacy continues to be celebrated by many Americans. He remains a symbol of hope and progress, and his leadership and accomplishments have had a significant impact on American society and politics. In addition to his domestic and international policy achievements, Obama's presidency was notable for its impact on social and cultural issues in the United States. He was a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, and his administration made significant progress in advancing equality for the LGBTQ+ community, including the repeal of the military's "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy and the legalization of same-sex marriage. Obama was also a supporter of women's rights and worked to address issues such as the gender pay gap and access to reproductive health care. His administration made historic appointments of women to high-level positions, including the first female Attorney General and the first female Director of the Secret Service. In addition, Obama was a strong advocate for criminal justice reform and worked to address issues such as mass incarceration and police brutality. His administration launched initiatives such as the Task Force on 21st Century Policing, which aimed to promote best practices in law enforcement and build trust between police and the communities they serve. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant accomplishments and challenges, and his legacy continues to shape American politics and culture. His leadership style and vision for the country have had a lasting impact on American society, and his legacy will undoubtedly continue to be celebrated and debated for years to come. Another major issue that Obama worked to address during his presidency was climate change. He made environmental protection a top priority and took steps to reduce carbon emissions and promote clean energy, including the signing of the Paris Agreement on climate change. His administration also implemented new fuel efficiency standards for cars and trucks, and invested in renewable energy projects such as wind and solar power. In addition, Obama's presidency was marked by his efforts to improve access to healthcare for all Americans. He signed into law the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, which expanded access to healthcare and provided new protections for consumers. The law was a controversial and divisive issue, with many Republicans opposing it and working to repeal it, but it has had a significant impact on the healthcare system in the United States. Obama's presidency also saw significant progress on issues related to immigration. He took executive action to protect young undocumented immigrants from deportation through the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) program, and worked to reform the immigration system to provide a path to citizenship for millions of undocumented immigrants. However, these efforts faced significant opposition from Republicans in Congress, and the issue of immigration remains a contentious and divisive one in American politics. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by a commitment to progressive values and a vision for a more just and equitable society. His leadership and accomplishments have had a significant impact on American society and politics, and his legacy will continue to be celebrated and debated for years to come. One of the most significant foreign policy challenges that Obama faced during his presidency was the ongoing conflict in Syria. He was criticized by some for his handling of the situation, particularly his decision not to take military action against the Syrian government after it used chemical weapons against its own citizens. However, Obama argued that a diplomatic solution was the best course of action, and he worked with international partners to negotiate a deal to remove Syria's chemical weapons. Obama also faced criticism for his use of drone strikes in the fight against terrorism, particularly in countries such as Pakistan and Yemen. While he argued that these strikes were necessary to protect American interests and prevent terrorist attacks, some critics argued that they were illegal and violated human rights. In addition to these challenges, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress on issues such as the normalization of relations with Cuba, the negotiation of the Iran nuclear deal, and the successful operation to kill Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda. Overall, Obama's foreign policy legacy is complex and debated, with some arguing that he was too hesitant in using military force and too willing to engage in diplomacy, while others argue that he made significant progress in promoting American interests and values on the world stage. Regardless of one's opinion, it is clear that Obama's foreign policy decisions and leadership have had a significant impact on American foreign policy and global affairs. Another major event that occurred during Obama's presidency was the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement in response to a series of high-profile police shootings of unarmed black individuals. Obama acknowledged and spoke out about the issue of police brutality and racism in the criminal justice system, and his administration launched a number of initiatives to address these issues. These included the creation of the Task Force on 21st Century Policing, as well as efforts to increase transparency and accountability in police departments across the country. Obama's presidency also saw significant progress on issues related to education. His administration launched initiatives to improve the quality of education in the United States, including the Race to the Top program, which incentivized states to make changes to their education systems in exchange for federal funding. Obama also worked to address issues such as student loan debt and access to higher education, and signed into law the Every Student Succeeds Act, which replaced the controversial No Child Left Behind law. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress on issues related to technology and innovation. He made investments in science and technology research, including the creation of the Brain Initiative to map the human brain, and launched initiatives to expand access to high-speed internet in rural areas. Obama also made efforts to promote entrepreneurship and innovation, including the creation of the Startup America Partnership and the signing of the Jobs Act, which made it easier for startups to raise capital. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress on a wide range of issues, from healthcare and education to climate change and social justice. His leadership and vision for the country continue to have a significant impact on American society and politics, and his legacy is likely to be celebrated and debated for many years to come. Another important issue that Obama worked to address during his presidency was income inequality. He argued that the growing gap between the rich and poor was one of the greatest threats facing the country, and his administration launched a number of initiatives to address this issue. These included the creation of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which aimed to protect consumers from predatory lending practices, and efforts to raise the minimum wage and expand access to affordable housing. Obama also made significant progress on issues related to LGBTQ rights. He signed into law the repeal of the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which prohibited openly gay individuals from serving in the military, and he became the first sitting president to publicly support same-sex marriage. His administration also issued guidance to schools to ensure that transgender students were able to use bathrooms and locker rooms that corresponded with their gender identity. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by a number of significant cultural milestones. He became the first president to visit Cuba in nearly 90 years, and he welcomed Pope Francis to the United States for the first time. He also made history by awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, to a diverse group of individuals, including Oprah Winfrey, Gloria Estefan, and Ellen DeGeneres. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by a commitment to progressive values and a vision for a more just and equitable society. While his presidency faced significant challenges and opposition, his leadership and accomplishments have had a significant impact on American society and politics, and his legacy is likely to continue to be celebrated and debated for many years to come. Another significant issue that Obama addressed during his presidency was climate change. He argued that climate change was one of the greatest threats facing the planet, and his administration launched a number of initiatives to address this issue. These included the Clean Power Plan, which aimed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from power plants, and the Paris Agreement, an international agreement to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. Obama also made significant progress on healthcare reform. He signed into law the Affordable Care Act, which aimed to provide access to affordable healthcare to millions of Americans who were previously uninsured. While the law faced significant opposition and challenges, it has remained in place and has been credited with reducing the uninsured rate in the United States. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by a commitment to bipartisanship and civil discourse. He often spoke about the need for Americans to come together and find common ground, and he worked to build relationships across the aisle. He also prioritized transparency and accountability, and his administration was marked by a commitment to ethical and responsible governance. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress on a wide range of issues, from healthcare and climate change to civil rights and social justice. His leadership and accomplishments have had a significant impact on American society and politics, and his legacy is likely to continue to be celebrated and debated for many years to come. During his presidency, Obama also made significant strides in foreign policy. He worked to repair relationships with countries that had been strained during the Bush administration and sought to strengthen America's global leadership. He signed into law the New START Treaty with Russia, which aimed to reduce nuclear weapons stockpiles, and worked to negotiate a deal with Iran to limit its nuclear program. Obama also played a key role in the fight against terrorism. He oversaw the operation that led to the killing of Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, and launched a campaign of drone strikes against suspected terrorists in countries such as Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. However, his administration faced criticism for the legality and effectiveness of these strikes. Additionally, Obama worked to expand America's relationships with countries in Asia and the Pacific. He launched the Pivot to Asia strategy, which aimed to strengthen America's economic and military ties with countries in the region, and negotiated the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a trade deal that aimed to deepen economic integration between the United States and several other countries. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by a number of significant international crises, including the Syrian civil war, the rise of the Islamic State, and the refugee crisis in Europe. He faced criticism from some quarters for his response to these crises, but he also worked to address them through diplomacy and humanitarian aid. Overall, Obama's foreign policy was marked by a commitment to global leadership and cooperation. While his administration faced significant challenges and criticism, his leadership and accomplishments in this area have had a significant impact on American foreign policy and on the world stage. Another notable aspect of Obama's presidency was his use of technology and social media. He was the first president to have a significant presence on social media, using platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to communicate directly with the public. He also oversaw the creation of a number of digital initiatives, such as the White House website and the Open Government Initiative, which aim to increase transparency and citizen participation in government. In addition, Obama's presidency was marked by significant advancements in technology and innovation. He launched the Precision Medicine Initiative, which aimed to personalize medical treatment based on an individual's genetic makeup, and oversaw the creation of the Brain Initiative, which aimed to better understand the workings of the human brain. He also pushed for increased funding for research and development in fields such as renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and autonomous vehicles. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by a commitment to education and workforce development. He launched the Race to the Top initiative, which aimed to improve education outcomes through increased funding and accountability measures, and the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which aimed to address the opportunity gap faced by young men of color. He also oversaw the creation of the Skills for America's Future initiative, which aimed to better connect job training programs with the needs of employers. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant advancements in technology and innovation, a commitment to transparency and citizen participation, and a focus on education and workforce development. His leadership and accomplishments in these areas have had a significant impact on American society and on the world stage. One other significant issue that Obama addressed during his presidency was criminal justice reform. He argued that the criminal justice system was in need of significant changes to address issues such as mass incarceration, racial disparities in sentencing, and police brutality. He launched initiatives such as the My Brother's Keeper Task Force, which aimed to address the needs of young men of color who are at risk of entering the criminal justice system. Additionally, Obama commuted the sentences of hundreds of nonviolent drug offenders, launched the Justice Department's Smart on Crime initiative, which aimed to reduce the number of people in prison and address issues such as addiction and mental health, and signed into law the Fair Sentencing Act, which aimed to reduce disparities in sentencing for crack and powder cocaine offenses. Obama also addressed issues related to immigration reform. He signed into law the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) program, which provided temporary relief from deportation for undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as children. He also launched the Deferred Action for Parents of Americans (DAPA) program, which would have provided similar relief for the parents of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents, but this program was blocked by legal challenges. Finally, Obama's presidency was marked by a commitment to LGBTQ+ rights. He signed into law the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which expanded hate crime protections to include sexual orientation and gender identity. He also repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy that prohibited openly gay people from serving in the military, and he publicly endorsed same-sex marriage, becoming the first sitting president to do so. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress on a wide range of social justice issues, including criminal justice reform, immigration reform, and LGBTQ+ rights. His leadership and accomplishments in these areas have had a significant impact on American society and on the world stage, and his legacy in this regard is likely to continue to be celebrated and debated for many years to come. One final aspect of Obama's presidency worth noting is his leadership on climate change and environmental protection. He made significant strides in this area, including signing into law the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which provided funding for clean energy projects and energy efficiency improvements, and launching the Clean Power Plan, which aimed to reduce carbon emissions from power plants. Obama also played a key role in the international effort to combat climate change. He signed onto the Paris Agreement, a landmark international climate agreement that aimed to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. He also worked to strengthen America's relationships with countries such as China and India, which are significant emitters of greenhouse gases. However, many of Obama's environmental policies faced significant opposition and legal challenges from industry groups and conservative politicians. For example, the Clean Power Plan was ultimately struck down by the Supreme Court, and the Trump administration withdrew the United States from the Paris Agreement. Despite these challenges, Obama's leadership on climate change and environmental protection has had a significant impact on American policy and on the global effort to combat climate change. His legacy in this regard is likely to continue to shape the debate over environmental policy and the future of the planet for many years to come. Another notable aspect of Obama's presidency was his foreign policy. He faced a number of significant challenges on the international stage, including the ongoing war in Afghanistan, the rise of ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and tensions with Russia and North Korea. One of Obama's key foreign policy achievements was the Iran nuclear deal, which aimed to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. He also worked to strengthen America's relationships with countries such as Cuba, which had been strained for many years. He became the first sitting U.S. president to visit Cuba in nearly 90 years, and he took steps to ease economic and travel restrictions between the two countries. However, Obama's foreign policy also faced significant criticism, particularly with regard to his handling of the Syrian civil war. He faced criticism from both the left and the right for not doing enough to stop the violence and for his handling of the Syrian refugee crisis. Overall, Obama's foreign policy was marked by both significant achievements and significant challenges. His leadership on issues such as the Iran nuclear deal and the normalization of relations with Cuba will likely be remembered as important steps towards greater global cooperation and stability, while his handling of the Syrian civil war will continue to be a subject of debate and criticism. One final aspect of Obama's presidency worth noting is his approach to healthcare reform. Early in his presidency, Obama made it a priority to pass comprehensive healthcare reform, arguing that the existing system was not working and was leaving millions of Americans without access to affordable healthcare. After a lengthy and contentious debate, Obama signed into law the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare, in 2010. The ACA aimed to expand access to healthcare coverage by requiring individuals to purchase insurance or pay a penalty, expanding Medicaid eligibility, and providing subsidies to help people afford insurance. The law also included a number of consumer protections, such as prohibiting insurance companies from denying coverage to people with pre-existing conditions. The ACA faced significant opposition and legal challenges from Republicans and conservative groups, who argued that the law was unconstitutional and that it would lead to increased government intervention in the healthcare system. However, the law has also been praised by many for expanding access to healthcare coverage and for providing important consumer protections. Overall, Obama's approach to healthcare reform was a significant achievement that has had a lasting impact on American society. The ACA has provided millions of Americans with access to healthcare coverage that they might not have otherwise had, and its consumer protections have helped to ensure that people are not denied coverage or charged exorbitant rates due to pre-existing conditions. However, the law has also faced significant challenges and opposition, and its future remains uncertain. Another significant aspect of Obama's presidency was his approach to social issues, particularly issues related to race, gender, and LGBTQ rights. Obama was the first African American president, and he made it a priority to address issues of racial inequality and discrimination. One of Obama's key initiatives in this area was the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which aimed to improve outcomes for young men of color in areas such as education, employment, and criminal justice. He also took steps to address police brutality and to promote criminal justice reform, particularly with regard to nonviolent drug offenses. Obama was also a strong advocate for LGBTQ rights. He signed into law the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which expanded federal hate crime laws to include crimes motivated by a victim's sexual orientation or gender identity. He also supported the legalization of same-sex marriage, which was ultimately recognized by the Supreme Court in 2015. In addition to his work on social issues, Obama also made history by appointing a diverse group of individuals to his administration. He appointed a record number of women, minorities, and LGBTQ individuals to top positions, including the first female attorney general and the first openly gay ambassador. Overall, Obama's approach to social issues was marked by a commitment to promoting equality and justice for all Americans. His work on issues related to race, gender, and LGBTQ rights has had a significant impact on American society, and his legacy in this area is likely to continue to shape the debate over social issues for many years to come. Finally, it is worth noting the lasting impact of Obama's presidency on American politics and society. Obama's election as the first African American president was a historic moment in American history, and his presidency marked a significant shift in the political landscape of the country. Obama's presidency inspired a generation of young people and people of color to get involved in politics, and his message of hope and change energized many Americans who had become disillusioned with the political process. He also brought a level of charisma and personality to the presidency that had not been seen in many years, and he used his position to promote important causes such as environmental sustainability and civic engagement. At the same time, Obama's presidency was marked by significant opposition from conservative groups and Republicans, who viewed him as a symbol of a larger cultural and political shift that they believed threatened the values and traditions of America. This opposition led to a significant polarization of American politics, and the country remains deeply divided along ideological lines today. Despite this polarization, Obama's presidency is likely to be remembered as a historic moment in American history, and his legacy as the first African American president will continue to inspire future generations of Americans. His accomplishments in areas such as healthcare reform, foreign policy, and social issues have had a lasting impact on American society, and his leadership and vision will continue to shape the political discourse in the United States for many years to come. In addition to his impact on American politics and society, Obama's presidency also had a significant impact on global affairs. He entered office at a time of great uncertainty and upheaval in the world, with ongoing conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, the global financial crisis, and the growing threat of terrorism and extremism. Obama's approach to foreign policy was marked by a commitment to multilateralism and diplomacy, and he sought to engage with other countries on issues such as nuclear disarmament, climate change, and trade. He was also committed to promoting human rights and democracy around the world, and he supported pro-democracy movements in countries such as Egypt and Tunisia. One of the most significant achievements of Obama's foreign policy was the Iran nuclear deal, which aimed to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons in exchange for sanctions relief. The deal was highly controversial and faced significant opposition from Republicans and conservative groups, but it was widely praised by international observers and was seen as a major achievement in the effort to prevent nuclear proliferation. Obama was also a strong advocate for combating climate change, and he worked to negotiate the Paris Agreement, which aimed to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The agreement was widely praised as a major step forward in the effort to combat climate change, but it faced significant opposition from conservative groups and Republicans in the United States. Overall, Obama's approach to foreign policy was marked by a commitment to multilateralism, diplomacy, and engagement with other countries. His efforts to promote human rights, democracy, and climate change action were widely praised, but his foreign policy achievements were also criticized by some for being too idealistic or not forceful enough. Nonetheless, Obama's presidency had a significant impact on global affairs, and his legacy in this area is likely to continue to shape the international community for many years to come. Another area where Obama's presidency had a significant impact was on healthcare reform. One of his key campaign promises was to expand access to healthcare for all Americans, and in 2010 he signed into law the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare. The ACA aimed to increase access to healthcare for millions of Americans who were previously uninsured or underinsured, by expanding Medicaid coverage and creating new insurance marketplaces where individuals and small businesses could purchase affordable insurance plans. The law also included several provisions aimed at reducing healthcare costs and improving the quality of care. The ACA was highly controversial and faced significant opposition from conservative groups and Republicans, who argued that it was an overreach of government power and would lead to higher taxes and lower quality of care. The law was challenged in the courts several times, and in 2017 the Trump administration repealed the individual mandate, a key provision of the ACA that required individuals to purchase health insurance or pay a penalty. Despite these challenges, the ACA has had a significant impact on healthcare in the United States, and millions of Americans have gained access to healthcare coverage as a result of the law. However, the ACA remains a highly politicized issue, and the future of healthcare reform in the United States remains uncertain. In addition to healthcare reform, Obama's presidency also saw significant progress in the area of LGBTQ rights. In 2010, he signed into law the repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy that banned openly gay and lesbian individuals from serving in the military. He also became the first sitting president to publicly support same-sex marriage, and in 2015 the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. Obama's presidency also saw significant progress in the area of criminal justice reform, with the passage of the Fair Sentencing Act in 2010, which aimed to reduce sentencing disparities for drug offenses, and the establishment of the Task Force on 21st Century Policing in 2014, which aimed to improve relations between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Overall, Obama's presidency was marked by significant progress in a variety of areas, from healthcare reform and LGBTQ rights to foreign policy and criminal justice reform. His legacy as the first African American president and his vision of hope and change have inspired millions of Americans, and his leadership and achievements are likely to be remembered for many years to come. Barack Obama is known for several famous quotes and speeches, including, "Yes, we can." This was the slogan of Obama's 2008 presidential campaign and became a rallying cry for his supporters. "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." This was a quote from Obama's speech after winning the Democratic nomination in 2008. The Audacity of Hope. This was the title of Obama's book published in 2006, and became a theme of his presidential campaign. "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness." This is the opening line of the Declaration of Independence, which Obama often quoted in his speeches as a reminder of America's founding principles. "We are not as divided as our politics suggests. We're not as cynical as the pundits believe. We are greater than the sum of our individual ambitions, and we remain more than a collection of red states and blue states." This was a quote from Obama's victory speech in 2008, emphasizing the need for unity and collaboration in politics. Here are a few more famous quotes by Barack Obama. "I believe in evolution, scientific inquiry, and global warming. I believe in free speech, whether politically correct or politically incorrect, and I am suspicious of using government to impose anybody's religious beliefs including my own on non-believers." This quote reflects Obama's views on science, religion, and the role of government. "We may have different backgrounds, but we believe in the same dream that says this is a country where anything is possible. No matter who you are. No matter where you come from." This quote highlights Obama's belief in the American dream, which he often talked about during his presidency. "The strongest democracies flourish from frequent and lively debate, but they endure when people of every background and belief find a way to set aside smaller differences in service of a greater purpose." This quote emphasizes the importance of civil discourse and compromise in politics. "We are the change we have been waiting for." This quote was from Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention in 2008, and reflects his belief in the power of individuals to create change. "Change is never easy, but always possible." This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of hope and optimism, even in the face of difficult challenges. "In the unlikely story that is America, there has never been anything false about hope." This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of hope and optimism, which he often emphasized during his presidency. "We need to reject any politics that targets people because of race or religion. This isn't a matter of political correctness. It's a matter of understanding what makes us strong. The world respects us not just for our arsenal. It respects us for our diversity and our openness and the way we respect every faith." This quote highlights Obama's commitment to inclusivity and diversity in America. "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." This quote is from Obama's tweet following the Charlottesville rally in 2017, and emphasizes the importance of love and unity in the face of hatred and division. "The future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on." This quote reflects Obama's determination and resilience in the face of challenges. "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." This quote, originally from Martin Luther King Jr., was a favorite of Obama's and reflects his belief in the power of progress and justice over time. "We are the change we seek." This quote reflects Obama's belief that individuals have the power to create change, and that change starts from within. "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." This quote is similar to the previous one, emphasizing the importance of individuals taking action to create change. The American dream is something no wall will ever contain. This quote was from Obama's speech in Havana, Cuba, and reflects his belief that the American dream is not limited by physical barriers or boundaries. I stand here today humbled by the task before us, grateful for the trust you have bestowed, mindful of the sacrifices borne by our ancestors. This quote is from Obama's inaugural address in 2009, and reflects his humility and gratitude for the opportunity to serve as President of the United States. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope, you will fill yourself with hope. This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of action and personal responsibility in creating hope and positivity in the world. We are not Democrats or Republicans first, we are Americans first. We're patriots first. We all want what's best for this country. This quote reflects Obama's belief that political differences should not divide us as a country, and that we should all work together for the common good. The future belongs to young people with an education and the imagination to create. This quote highlights Obama's emphasis on the importance of education and innovation in shaping the future. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of positive thinking and the importance of believing in our ability to create a better future. Change is never easy, but always possible. This quote emphasizes Obama's belief that change is a process that requires effort and determination, but is always achievable. We have a choice in this country. We can accept a politics that breeds division, and conflict, and cynicism. Or, at this moment, in this election, we can come together and say, "Not this time." This quote is from Obama's speech at the 2004 Democratic National Convention, and reflects his call for unity and rejection of divisive politics. The future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. This quote reflects Obama's determination and resilience in the face of challenges. We need to reject any politics that targets people because of race or religion. This isn't a matter of political correctness. It's a matter of understanding what makes us strong. This quote highlights Obama's belief in the importance of inclusivity and acceptance in building a strong and united country. If you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you'll make progress. This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of persistence and determination in achieving success. The success of our economy has always depended not just on the size of our gross domestic product, but on the reach of our prosperity, on our ability to extend opportunity to every willing heart, not out of charity, but because it is the surest route to our common good. This quote highlights Obama's belief in the importance of creating opportunities for all individuals, regardless of background or circumstances. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. This quote is similar to one I mentioned earlier, emphasizing the idea that individuals have the power to create change and make a positive difference in the world. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. This quote reflects Obama's belief in the power of individual action and agency in creating change. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope, you will fill yourself with hope. This quote highlights Obama's emphasis on taking action and making positive changes in the world. We can't drive our SUVs and eat as much as we want and keep our homes at 72 degrees at all times and then just expect that other countries are going to say okay. This quote reflects Obama's belief in the importance of taking responsibility for our impact on the environment and working towards sustainable practices. The American people are hungry for something different and desperately want to believe that Washington is not just a place where good ideas go to die. This quote highlights Obama's acknowledgement of the frustration many Americans feel with the political system and his commitment to bringing about change. In the end, That's what this election is about. Do we participate in a politics of cynicism or a politics of hope? This quote is from Obama's keynote address at the 2004 Democratic National Convention and reflects his emphasis on hope and optimism in the face of political challenges.